live now. Namaste. Namaste. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Happy Thursdays. Hope you're having an amazing time. Welcome, 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 everyone. I'm doing a joint live today with Dr. Ariane, which is going to be another amazing live. Namaste, namaste. So, everyone, Dr. Ariane is going to be my guest today. She's a dear friend. We're going to be talking about mindfulness and how our thoughts creates our reality. What do you think, guys? Do you think that your thoughts are creating your reality? I worked on a post. Let me see if my guest is here. No, I haven't seen her yet. Oh, there she is. Hey! She's here. It's gonna take her a while. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, love?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Fabulous. Fabulous. So, would you like to introduce yourself to my followers, first of all?
Sure. Of course, of course. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored to be in your presence. Thank you. I'm Dr. Araya. I live in Monterey, California. And I was an engineer until 7 years ago. So I have a very analytical, scientific mind. But after that, I got my PhD in psychology and I became a life coach. And I'm a mindful living, conscious parenting coach, a joyful coach. I'm all about the mind and how we can create more joy in our life, in our relationships, in our job. Yes.
Beautiful, wonderful. Are you a mom? Are you
Yes, yes. I have two kids, 14-year-old girl and 12-year-old boy. He's going to be 12 in 1 week. And yes, so that's why I do conscious parenting, which is a new paradigm in parenting, just to have more joy and to know ourselves through parenting, to heal ourselves. So yes.
That is so important. We should have a long lecture about conscious parenting because I see so much going on. And I actually had a live Farsi live a couple of weeks ago, and we dedicated to moms and how they're experiencing guilt.
Yes.
So often moms are kind of looking back and they think that, oh, I have gone so wrong. How could I do that? And how could I blah, blah, blah. So this guilt is a huge thing, especially for our Persian community. And
Yes.
we probably have to do another live together to kind of get the moms to stop beating themselves off and be a little bit more kinder to themselves. So that would be great. Yeah. Anyway, let's dive into our topic today. Start up and then we follow.
Sure. So the topic is our thoughts create our reality. How do they do that? So the way we can start about it is that we have tons and tons of thoughts throughout the day. I haven't found a very scientific paper about this, but I've heard it from the teachers I've had. How many thoughts do you think we have during the day on average?
75, I heard.
Yes, between 50,000 and 100,000 thoughts a day. And most of them, all of them actually are very unconscious. So my PhD dissertation was in mindfulness. And although I'm a meditator of 30 years, until I actually learned these in an academic papers. I'm like, let me figure out what's up with this thoughts. So when I monitored my thoughts, I'm like, oh my goodness, there are so many of them. And unfortunately, most of them are negative and fear-based. And why is that? Because our brain's protective mechanism its only job is to protect us from the threats out there in the surroundings. So it's constantly monitoring our surroundings for things that might go wrong.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have to make it a practice to not only become aware of this mechanism, but intentionally flip it, intentionally rewire our brain for more joy and peace. Because guess what? These threats are not real. Most of them are not real. Like, there are very few cases that are like really urgent cases out there. Like if your, I don't know, child wants to run into the street, yes, that's an emergency, go act. But other than that, we don't have a lot of real emergencies out there. That's why we have to be super careful what these thoughts are. So that's the first reason how our thoughts create our reality, because we're literally run by them. So why thoughts are important? They can just linger there and we are okay with it. So what if they're like fear-based? The reason is this: every thought leads to a feeling, and every feeling leads to a behavior. So whatever we do is actually originated in a thought in our mind. So that is what it's super important to become aware of them. And I think that the most important tool that we can cultivate that awareness is meditation, especially mindfulness meditation. Because I love like guided meditation, visualization, they're amazing. But until we do mindful breathing meditation and mindful living meditation, we are not aware of these thoughts and we don't know how to dismantle their sabotaging powers.
Absolutely, yes. So we were actually working on some posts regarding this, how our thoughts creates our realities. And I was telling the girls that every thought has a frequency and a vibration. Everything has frequency and vibration, right? So every thought, whether it's negative or positive, it has its own vibration. And if every day we have the majority of our thoughts are negative, and by these thoughts being repeated day after day, eventually it becomes our beliefs. And I say the universe is always, it's a huge mirror that is just reflecting back to us what's going on, what energy and vibration we're sending out there. So I said, you don't get what you wish for, you will get what your beliefs are. Your hidden subconscious beliefs are creating your reality. Because so often, with this law of attractions and secrets, and so many people got lost and is like, oh, I'm thinking it, I'm thinking it. And they're really forcing themselves to consciously think positives and repeat mantras. But oftentimes it's just that people don't really believe it. They're saying that. And another thought is conflicting or contradicting that positive enforcement that they're trying to create with the positive mantras. And then they are like, oh my God, I've been doing this for months or 6 months. And then even yet, they're waiting constantly, impatiently. When is it going to manifest? It hasn't manifested yet. So they're constantly creating this energy and vibrations of lack and scarcity and anxiousness that is not here, is not here. When is it coming? It's not here. And they're unaware that the energy that you're sending out is contradicting what you're trying to positively even think about.
Absolutely. So when we want something, the universe believes I don't have it. So when I want something, I'm vibrating on lack of that thing. So that's why it is super important to anchor ourselves in the present moment and really revel and enjoy what we already have. Okay. And when we already have and we are grateful for it and we are joyful about it, then we are vibrating high. In that state, then we can say, okay, I'm manifesting this. Because if you're manifesting in lack, as you said, if you're like in lack and scarcity, it's not here, I'm a failure, this is not working, therefore the universe is gonna attract to us what we are vibrating right now, not what we wish we will have, but right this moment. So we attract what we are vibrating in this moment. Therefore, the secret weapon is to be grateful for what we already have in this moment, for what we already are, for what we already do in this moment. And then in that space of abundance, then manifest our desires. You're absolutely right. And when you said repeat, absolutely, we repeat 90% of our thoughts from yesterday, 99 to 95%. And unfortunately, as I said, 80% of them are negative. So it's not only about the conscious thoughts, as you said. So for example, when I say, I want to be a millionaire, that's a conscious intention. That's the 5%, the tip of the iceberg. Right? But the 95%, the subconscious and all those unconscious beliefs and thoughts is that, okay, for example, I don't know, rich people are stingy, money is not spiritual, you have to work hard to attract money. So all these thoughts that have been ingrained in us from childhood, from our parents, these are called money stories from our parents. They're really ingrained in us and they're pulling us down. Always, the analogy is when you want to row a boat and you're rowing your boat and you're not moving forward. And why? Because you have an anchor in the seabed. You have to become aware, pull up the anchor so you can actually move forward. This anchor are all those money stories that we ingrain in our psyche from our parents, from culture, from society. So it's very important, as you said, not only become aware of these beliefs, but also about our feelings, because that's what we are attracting, our feelings.
So tell me what you feel about this. I think so often, because we are not conscious of the thinking machine, as I call it, the mind, since we're not aware of it, and this machine is working outside of us, it sort of, for some people, gravitates more toward negative thoughts, right? And these negative thoughts, they continue. And as you said, and I know, 75 to 80% of our thoughts is the repeated garbage from 5 hours ago and yesterday and the day before. So I believe after a while, our physics becomes a mind on its own. And we become addicted to the negative pattern of the thoughts. So, like I said, after a while, let me open this up a little bit. If you're addicted to caffeine and you wake up day after day, you wake up first thing in the morning, like me, Ariane, I wake up, my coffee is ready from the night before. I just have to walk into the kitchen and just pour the water and turning on the coffee machine, right? So this is a sort of addiction which has been created as a routine by doing this behavior day after day after day. So after a while, my physical body gets that attention, learns that behavior, and the physical body becomes a brain by itself. So I no longer need the brain in order to do the behavior or to repeat the habits, because the body itself is doing it for me. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Tell me yes or no. Do you get it? Are you clear? Mm. Write the comments, guys. Are you clear about what I'm saying here? Yes or no? Mm. So, welcome back.
I'm so sorry.
Welcome back, no problem.
I don't know what's going on. My internet only doesn't like Instagram for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, let me ask you something. Do you once in a while pull out your modem and put it back on?
Oh yeah, we do it every night because of the kids. But I don't know. There's nothing goes wrong with whatever we do. It's just the Instagram live. I don't know why.
We need to clear that out too, Mariana. So I don't know if you heard what I said. Do you agree or disagree?
I didn't hear you properly, but I think you said that we something about the body. So the body has also intelligence. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, let's get back. Most of us are living our lives unconsciously. We're not living our life being conscious about what's going on, the patterns of the thoughts, the emotions, and blah, blah, blah. So basically, when a thought gets repeated, it creates a habit. It turns into a behavior. Once that continues, the physical body becomes a second brain on its own. So I gave that example that I have my coffee machine ready the night before. Every morning when I wake up, I don't need my brain to do that. My physical body already knows the behavior and the pattern. It just walks to the kitchen and just pour the water in. I could be still asleep or I don't need my brain. So basically what I'm saying is that the physical body after a while turn into a second mind. As you know, now we're talking about, we used to talk for years, I was educating my followers about leaky gut. And then now we're dealing with leaky brain. Oh, does our brain leaks too? Anyway, that's a medical term. But what do you think about that?
Absolutely. So we have memory muscles. Our muscles have memories, and everything just all the cells in our body they have a memory, and they absorb what has been repeated and repeated and repeated. It's like typing. Like if you want to think, it's really hard to type, but your fingers know how to type. So you're absolutely right.
So now that we're aware that we're not a conscious thinker, we're the unconscious thinker. What tools do you have for us to switch this and become more of a conscious thinker?
Okay, I didn't hear completely, but I think you asked me what are the tools that we can become aware of those unconscious thoughts. By the way, Carl Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your fate, and you will call it fate. It will run your life, and you will call it fate. So that's why we have to just make it a practice to become aware of these unconscious thoughts. And as I said at the beginning, the best tool is mindfulness and mindful breathing. And it's extremely simple. The mechanism is bring your attention to your breathing, either on your chest that goes up and down, or on your nose where it tickles your nose. And then as soon as you're aware of a thought, so you just pay attention to those sensations, either on your chest or your nose. And as soon as you're aware of a thought, you detach and you come back to that sensation. It goes up and down on your chest, goes up and down on your chest. That is it. It's that simple. So this way we are training our brain not to hang on to these thoughts. They're like wagons on a train, and we just let them pass. Right? We let them pass. These thoughts are wagons on a train, and we don't want to jump on the train. So we come back to the breathing on our chest, on our nose. Now, similarly, we can do every mundane task that we have, like washing the dishes, walking, talking, driving, folding the laundry, cooking. All of these become our anchors, like such as our chest. And then, okay, I'm cooking or I'm washing the dishes. I'm feeling the water on my hands. I'm paying attention to the texture of the water. As soon as I'm aware of a thought, I detach and I come back to the texture of the water on my hand. This way, those 100,000 thoughts will not get a chance to create those feelings and then the behaviors, as I said, thoughts, feelings, behaviors. And what is the scientific reason for this? Because our working memory is very limited, has a very limited capacity. So now, if in this moment I fully pay attention to the water texture, or to the sound of the birds, or to the trees I see, or to the texture of the laundry I'm folding, then my working brain does not have a capacity to think those thoughts. Now we become happy, because those thoughts are usually negative, right? So now we become happy. That's why mindfulness is really is the end of suffering. If we can do even pain, even if we have pain, if you have a toothache, and really pay attention to the pain and feel the pain, rather than thinking about the pain. Oh, now I have to go to the dentist. Oh, now I have to pay. No, why now? Well, I have this, I have that. So we go to the pain and feel the pain. And research shows that even physical pain subsides if we pay attention to it. Now, emotional pain is up here. Now I'm paying attention to the pain in my body, and my working memory does not have the capacity to think those thoughts. Now, even the pain does not cause suffering, because pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So suffering is usually in the thoughts that we have, the interpretations that we have about something. Someone, even like death, if someone dies, yes, the pain is very real. We can feel the pain, but we don't have to suffer. The suffering comes from the fact, where is this person? I missed this person, all those things. Why me? Why I lost this person? But so that's why the suffering is here, but the pain is in the body. When we feel it, it dissolves. And research shows that the maximum duration of each feeling is really 90 seconds. So if we feel the feeling, it will dissolve. And even Rumi says the cure for pain is in the pain. So that's why, like, every morning I ask myself, how do I feel? And I find the feeling, and even if it's a bad feeling, if a negative feeling, I'm going to feel it. I'm not going to be afraid of it. I'm going to feel it for 90 seconds, and it will sure dissolve. It's really magical. But it's just that we were not allowed to feel our feelings in childhood, because when we were crying, yelling, whining, we were either punished or somehow coerced not to feel our feelings. So that's why we forgot how to feel our feelings. Now we have to retrain our brain to feel these feelings, and retrain our brain to become aware of these thoughts, to neutralize them, to flip them, and to think positive thoughts or neutral thoughts.
Absolutely, yes. So since, Arya, we're working on a big crowd with meditation and mindfulness and all that, so often we run into this sentence that I usually forget to be mindful. How can we resolve that? That people need a reminder to be mindful.
Beautiful. That's a great question, because that is actually the topic of my dissertation. So for my subjects, I ask them to have 3 reminders on their phone. So you're going to have 3 reminders throughout the day. So one time in the morning, 3 reminders on your phone. And when the reminder goes off, you just bring your attention to your breathing on your chest. When the thought comes, you detach, you come back to breathing for 1 minute. So the topic of my dissertation was 3 1 minute mindful breathing micro breaks increase well-being, recovery from stress, and present moment attention. So you're absolutely right. We have to make it a habit. And what's the best way to make something a habit? To have reminders on your phone, have it an accountability. Do it with your husband, do it with your mom, do it with your daughter, with your friend. Okay, it's 12 o'clock. Let's do mindful breathing micro break for 1 minute. I actually have groups every morning. I send them a reminder 7:30 in the morning. It's time to close your eyes. So with my clients, I just send like a little emoji with the eyes. Okay, it's time to close your eyes. You just go and bring your attention to your breathing. The more we do this, the more we create these neural pathways in our brain to do it more often and longer. So we have to make it a practice. It's like any other habit building.
Mm-hmm. Arya, I gotta tell Mersha to send you the animation that we made. I constantly, one part of my teaching is that look at the brain as a thinking machine. So everyone in my webinars are all calling my Daska the machine. The machine is saying this, the machine, first of all, we're separating, we're doing all different techniques for people to start separating themselves from the thoughts. And then we made this animation because I say thought, cut, silent. And when the thought comes, you imagine that you have this golden scissor yet in the mind, and the golden scissor would cut or chop off right after the first thought. And then you come to the experience this millisecond of silence. The thinking machine will continue, and then it comes with the next thought, and you cut it and you cut it. So it took me a couple of days to make this girl who's making my animation to get exactly what was in my thinking machine. I told her, I said, I want you to use a monkey and then put like thought, and this monkey is going crazy. And then I want to show the past. So the monkey is going some sceneries and stuff, and then you write past, and the monkey is thinking about stuff and crying and getting really emotional. And suddenly it jumps to the future. And then I said, write down future, that the thinking machine is creating all these things. I need a bigger house. I need a car. I want to have this and that. At the beginning, the monkey in the future gets excited, but then shortly after it realizes that even those wishes and dreams are making him depressed. And then the monkey suddenly goes like bang, and from his head comes this idea that you got a golden scissor, and you start cutting all these thoughts, and it becomes happy and joyful. So I'm going to have Mersha, maybe you can use that, because especially for kids, it would be very cute and amazing, because it's a, you know, it's a monkey and the scenery is so beautiful. But that's one of the ways.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, so that's one of the techniques that we use. And the other technique that it needs a reminder, I tell people to set it up for their phone, that at the beginning, every 5 minutes, it gives them a reminder. And I saw one of my students one day, I was driving with her, and all of a sudden her phone said bing, and I look at the message and it was thought cut silent. She said, I had that set up on my phone. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. At the beginning, because if we have close to 100,000 of thoughts, maybe just a notice in the morning, mid-afternoon, at night, it won't be enough. Maybe at the beginning, we need more reminders from our phone that is reminding us to become conscious. What do you think?
Yes. You are absolutely right. Actually, originally I wanted to have hourly reminders, but then the ethical boards didn't approve my topic because I was doing it with employees, and they said, "Oh, they're taking away time from work." I'm like, "It's just 1 minute," but they didn't allow me. That's why I had 3. So yes, originally hourly reminders are perfect. If you have hourly, that's what I had originally when I started coaching. Actually, what I did was not mindful breathing, was checking up with my emotions, like how do I feel at this time. But then you can do both. You can do you can just neutralize your thoughts by bringing your attention to your breathing, and also feel your feelings so they dissipate. And the reason breathing is so important, my dear, because as I said, all these visualizations are fantastic, having the scissors and all those things. But the reason I really focus on breathing is because it's always a way available, and it's just, you can do it at any time. You can do it with open eyes. You don't have to visualize anything. So when, for example, your child is throwing a tantrum and you're watching child, but your attention is on your breathing, this is dual awareness, right? So you don't need to do anything. You're watching the child, you're present with the child, but your attention is on your breathing. This way, we make it a habit. What you just mentioned is called mind wandering in academia. Mind wandering is like, I'm here, I'm thinking about something else. I'm eating, I'm thinking about work. I'm working, I'm thinking about my kid. I'm with my kid, I'm thinking about cooking. This is called mind wandering, right? Mindfulness is the opposite of mind wandering. And when we do this, when we bring our attention to the present moment experience, as well as our breathing, we are retraining brain from mind wandering to mindfulness.
Yeah, Ariane, I was thinking about this for a while, and I talked about it in one of my lectures. Why are we saying mindfulness? Do we want our mind to be full? So I said, how about if we change that with mindlessness or mind-freeness instead of mindfulness? I think that the English word is
my dear. Well, that full is LL, but has 2 L's. This one has 1 L. So mindlessness, we cannot be without thinking. That's impossible. Like, it's like that. The nature of the brain is to have thoughts. Okay, so that's why that's mind. We cannot be mindless. When you say mindless, it's like a person is like who's like doesn't care or is careless kind of. So mindful, yes.
How
mindful,
about
I don't know.
How about mind-freeness?
Again, we cannot be free of the mind. Like, the mind is always chattering. Here's like a monk talks about it so beautifully. He says the mind is always chattering. What we need to do, we need to, like a monkey in your meditation, right? The monkey mind, right? It's always chattering. We cannot stop the monkey from chattering. It's impossible. What we need to do is to give it a banana. So it has the banana, it doesn't jump from here to there. It's just focusing on the banana. What's the banana is our breathing. What's the banana is the tree we're seeing. What's the banana is the water on our hands when we're washing the dishes. What's the banana is the cheek on my kids and when I kiss it. So when I kiss my kid, I really need to smell my kid, see my kid, feel my kid, instead of thinking about something else. So that's the banana we give to our mind. We cannot stop our mind from thinking. That's just impossible.
Well, the way I go in my teaching is that our intention with meditation or mindfulness is not to get into the fight with the thoughts, but is kind of looking at it, but allowing it to do its job, but not making a connection that the thoughts are you. That's what we keep practicing. The thinking machine, realizing step 1, that the thinking machine, one of its job is to create thoughts. This is the thinking machine. So it's not my job to go fight with it or stop it or get rid of it. It's actually my part to see what the thinking machine is doing, but not connecting with the thoughts and not to making it mine. So that's the practice that we're actually doing and keep repeating it in the webinar. And I often say, this is what I do. And I offer to my student, I said, every morning when I wake up, I realize that I was dreaming last night. The dreamer has woken up and is entering another dream. So because I come from that shamanism background, as a shaman, we always laugh and we say the outer world is only a dream, right? It's a movie. So we don't get so triggered by it. We don't go the ups and downs with it. We know it's the movie, we know it's the film, but we don't identify ourselves as an actor playing in the movie. Neither do we get bothered with other actors. I'm not in the movie. I'm watching and observing the movie.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So all these thoughts that come from our human brain, they're just electric signals in our brain. If I ask someone, are you your nose? I'm not my nose. I'm not my hand. I'm not my hand. So why do we identify with these thoughts in our brain, which is just part of our human body? We are beyond the human body. We are that witnesser, as you said, that observer, right? So that's it. Super important what you just said. So who we are is actually what between the thoughts. Between the thoughts is a very small space. That's where we are. That's our true self. So now we become just the observer, as you said, of these thoughts, and we don't identify with them. The same way, if something happens to my pinky and I lose my pinky, I'm still me. I'm not my pinky. Why do I believe that I'm these thoughts? Absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. So we often say that if I want to get rid of all the sufferings or whatever, I have to separate myself from this false ego mind character. And this is extremely hard. That's where our teaching comes from, that mindfulness and being fully present, it becomes so important and so much more. At the beginning, people think it's so much harder to be consciously conscious, to observe this I separate as yourself. So I often say at the beginning, it might be a really difficult task, but that's what the monks do, right? They leave the beautiful, worldly, shiny objects and shiny world. They become a monks, or what the shamans do is that you don't identify yourself with this mind and ego, and you don't turn into a robot. I was just doing a Farsi live before this one, and I thought about it. I said, my goal is to bring to your sleeping beauty that you are not awake. You're asleep in this deep, deep dream. And so if you don't wake up, if you're asleep in a dream, you don't even know that you're asleep. The first step is for you to realize that as long as you believe the false ego mind is you, you're going to remain in this dream world, in this sleep. You're going to stay asleep. But somehow, sometimes, at some point, especially with this new earth that we all wanting to enter, is that for us to realize that I'm not a robot. I don't identify myself with the mind and ego, because if that keeps going on, what's the difference between me and a robot who wakes up every day, is just working having a family and going through this and that, doing the routines and try to survive, staying in a survivor mode. What's the difference between you and a robot? You're just being pulled everywhere. What's the meaning of life as long as you're living it? And there is also that 1% who their intention is for people not to wake up and not to realize there is a diamond within them, which is the whole knowing. And now they're going all over the place. They're suffering because they're asleep and they identify themselves with this mind ego.
Yes, you're so right. And I see one of the comments here, she said, the practice is very hard. And you mentioned it too, it's very difficult. But as any other habit that we need to build, the first step is willingness. The person wants to have a better life,
Yes.
wants to have a more joyful life. The second step, as you said, is to that realization and learning is the education part, is the knowledge which you are giving to your people. So understand, oh, this is a matrix. I need to wake up. I'm not a robot anymore. I'm being run by these thoughts that are all unconscious, all very ingrained in me from 0 to 7 years old. And I'm just regurgitating them, just repeating and repeating without thinking, repeating. It's exactly like a robot. So that's just the realization and the education and the tools that you offer. I offer how to do that. Mindful breathing is a tool. Now, the third part is repetition, is practice. Of course, it's difficult because we are rewiring decades of mindlessness, decades of mindfulness, decades of robotism, right? We've been robots, right? So I want to show you how this brain rewiring works, or neuroplasticity, like how we rewire our brain for new habits. For example, this is a paper. If I want to fold it in half, and then in half, and then in half, and in the half, and then half, it takes probably, I don't know, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Now, if I open it, and then I'll fold it again, because there is, sorry, this is my kids' biology. If I want to fold it now, it's going to be fast because I already did it once. Mm-hmm. I did it in 2 seconds. So this is the practice, right? So the first time it takes practice, it takes 3, 4, 5 hourly reminders every day to do something. And then when the wiring, the neural network already is in place, then we get it faster. Then it becomes second nature.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I find neuroscience fascinating because the very first time I heard about neuroplasticity, I was like, what is that about? You know, you just think, and when I read about it, and especially, you know, John Assaraf, he's big on that. John Assaraf and Joe Dispenza, and they all talk about this neuroplasticity. It's so fascinating to know, and it's a good break that our brain is not solid. It's plastic. It could learn, it could change, we could change any behaviors as long as we have the tools to do so. So this is good news. But then again, we're going, I mean, the way I'm going with my teaching is way, way behind that. We're just saying that, hey guys, when you say, I am depressed, realize that you're not depressed. Who is the one who is experiencing depression? And you separate yourself from the feeling, and you can question the mind. When the mind is saying so and so and la la la, don't just go by it. Don't try to shut it down. Being conscious is that you realize and you ask the question, who is asking the question? And then you realize that something outside of you is thinking. And once the feeling comes, you can question it again. Don't just accept it. Oh, I'm so depressed. Don't. Separate yourself from, question the one who is experiencing. Question the experiencer. Who is the one who is experiencing depression? The minute you do that, you change from being unconscious to being conscious and realizing that, oh, depression is being experienced, but I'm not the one who is experiencing it. Or if I had a choice and I didn't want to experience this depression, what would I choose instead to experience? So often, Arya, I realize when I do private coaching sessions, so often I realize that people are so accustomed to know the negatives, their problems, what they don't like, and blah, blah, blah. But when I want to switch that into positive, to the likes, to what you like, what you love, what do you want, people come so short-handed. It's just like,
Absolutely.
what is this missing links that we are all know exactly what we don't like, but the opposite, we don't know what we like. People get lost in this transition that, oh, I don't like to be depressed. So what do you want to be? Oh, I don't know. What's the opposite of depression? Huh? I have to think about it, you know?
Yeah. I want to take it one step even further. We don't even know what we don't want. We, as we said, we are just robots. We're just sulking in these feelings because we are slave to our protective mechanism of our brain. So we don't even know what we don't want, let alone what we want. So we're just robots, literally, until we wake up. Until, like, even knowing these things, if you don't practice, it's not going to do good, because we have to make it a practice. We should have morning routines. It's a must. It's a non-negotiable. Like, I have a 1 hour morning routine every day. If I don't do it, I go down. Even I'm teaching this, right? I've been researching this. I've been teaching this. I have to maintain my morning routine. I have to maintain my practices, chanting, going to nature. Like, nature is really absolutely essential, because that is our true nature. When we are severed from the true nature out there, we are just we are overwhelmed with all these thoughts, and I'm not good enough. I have to do more. I have to be more. I have to have more. We keep comparing ourselves to social media people, to other people. We think they have a better life. So we are literally kind of sulking in our own stories in our head, not the reality. So we have to make it a practice, especially in the morning, half an hour at least. Do meditation, do exercise, go to nature, chanting, all these beautiful tools that are out there. And then also throughout the day, 2-3 times, make it a practice to come back to you, because we forget who we are in the midst of the kids and the job and the cooking. We have to keep remembering who we are, which you said, we're just that observer. We're that observer, which is quantum science shows we are all interconnected to that divine intelligence. We are all, the whole of us, the whole universe is intelligent, and we are just connected with each other. And all these thoughts that we have, they only come from our childhood, from society, from culture, and they're mainly lies. They're false stories, right? So we have to make it a practice to remember these things and come back to our true self by breathing, by being the observer, as you said, by doing service, by reveling in the nature, by cultivating gratitude for what we have done, what we have, who we are, by creating, such as creating music, I don't know, art, all those things. Just, that's how we should make it a practice throughout the day, to fill that void we have in us. Otherwise, that void will get filled with negative thinking, like depression, anxiety, addiction, shopping, all these things that we do to make ourselves happy for the wrong reasons.
I did a webinar for kids and parents. I think the last time we had a joint live, I talked about it. It was amazing to see how children 4, 5, ages 4, 5, 6, 7, they learned this. They realized the mind and ego, the thinking machine, the practice of thought, cut, silence. And I could hear when a 5-year-old would say, Dear Sudi, when I do this practice, I'm becoming really successful of quieting down the mind. But sometimes there is a little noise behind this noise. How do I get access into it? And it was amazing. These children, they blew my mind out how they got the teaching. And I was hoping that we could kind of really make this practice bigger for more and more parents to take this webinar for the children, for the sake of children, for the parents to learn this. And oftentimes the children would remind the parents, oh, you're not doing the thought cut this, or you're not saying this and that. Is the children were reminding the parents how to that they're not being mindful, or they're not fully present, or this or that. So it's my goal into getting more and having more of these webinars to get more children and teenagers, because it could really transform our lives. And as you know, I'm just seeing so many teens right now experiencing, gravitating towards drugs and dealing with drug addictions and all that. So it would be wonderful to do that. And right now I'm starting another webinar, REIA. It's about how to become superhuman. And the whole goal and plan of this webinar is to wake up people from this deep, deep sleep. So you're more than welcome to join us once in a while. I'm starting the following Saturday.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Beautiful. So we're at the end of our lives, Arya. Do you have something to add, something you would like to say?
No, I want to thank you. Thank you for having me in your tribe. You're wonderful. You're doing amazing work.
Thank you so much, love. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye, and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for visiting. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, hon. All right, everyone. I'm going to end this live and couple of notifications. First of all, don't forget, if you haven't followed me on my Instagram, do not forget to follow me and turn on your notification. So whenever I'm going live or unexpected lives, you guys get notified. So follow, turn on your notification. Secondly, I have two business Facebook account. You can also check those as it's Sudi Burnett English and Sudi Burnett Farsi, but those are business account. Do not forget to join those groups, because soon I will be doing some lives. It's going to be extremely educational, but I'm doing it only and only for people who are on my business Facebook page. So don't forget to do that. And also, and lastly, do not forget, if you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, Sudi Burnett English, do not forget to subscribe, and you can receive a gift from me by doing so, writing comments, sharing the lives and posts and stories, and you can receive a gift of your choice. It could be any one file from my webinars or any other online course and blah, blah, blah. So please subscribe on my YouTube channel, and please do share my lives so we help more and more people to wake up from this dream. Love you all. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye. Be blessed and stay out of trouble. Goodbye, everyone.